Hello, my name is John Lord, and I will be your instructor for Accounting 73, Fraud Detection and Deterrence. The purpose of this video is to give you a sense as to how the course is going to be organized, go through the syllabus with you. You can see Canvas on the screen, not a whole lot there, but we'll be building this as we go through the course this quarter. I'm going to start with a little bit about my background. I have been teaching for 30 years in various capacities. Initially, I have been teaching the CPA exam. I've been doing that for about 30 years, teaching with Becker Professional Education, which is a CPA review course, teaching the financial BEC section and also audit section of the exam. I don't teach regulation. I'm not a tax person, which is what that exam is primarily made up of. But I do teach those other three parts. And as I said, I've been doing that for quite a while now, about 30 years. During the time that I've been teaching, I also was an auditor with the federal government, an agency called the Government Accountability Office. GAO is the auditing investigative arm of Congress. And I've been on various financial statement audits with the GAO, looking at the consolidated financial statements of the federal government. I was on the audit of the Environmental Protection Agency's financial statements, U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Public Debt, Veterans Administration, various federal agencies, financial statement audits over those years. Towards the back in my career, I moved more towards program audit, was looking at the economy efficiency of programs. About almost now 10 years ago, I retired from the government, from the federal government, and started working for the Cal State system here in the state of California. And I've taught at both San Francisco and San Jose State. I'm located in the Bay Area. I'm in the East Bay. So I taught at San Francisco and San Jose State for about 10 years, and I have retired from that. I continue to teach CPA material at Golden Gate University. We have a program there called the CPA Applied program, and we prepare students for the 4 parts of the CPA exam. I use the Becker materials, the textbook for that class. And with that program, you were able to get 12 units towards completing the requirements to sit for the CPA exam, and of course, preparing you to pass the exam at the same time. So we're sort of killing 2 or maybe even 3 birds with that stone, because you can also apply those same 12 units to your master's degree. So I'm still involved teaching that material, the CPA material. And I also teach at Stanford, where I teach Introduction to Financial Accounting, both for the School of Management Science and Engineering and the School of Medicine. Those are non-accounting majors, but they require them to have some accounting knowledge. And so I teach that class there at Stanford University. So that's a little bit about my teaching background. My practical background, being an auditor with the federal government, is relevant because whenever you do a financial statement audit, or whenever you look at a program the way I was doing, there are always requirements that you consider the risk of fraud and respond accordingly for that. So I'll be talking from time to time about those engagements, some of the type of things that we identified as we've gone through. I think that it's worthwhile, helpful for you to sort of learn more the practical approach to a class like this, fraud detection and deterrence. So you can see the syllabus up on the screen. And so when you click on that, and I'm just going to go ahead and open it here so we don't have to wait for the file to load for us. You can see the information there, my phone number, my Deanza email, the phone number you can call, text, the email, obviously, you know how that works. You can see that this is an online class. There's no set times. I'm sure you're aware. You find time during your week to go ahead and view the lectures that I'll be posting, and I'll talk to you more about that here in a couple of seconds. And then, on your own schedule. There's no set time for that. Okay, you can see our spring dates that the class is going to be running. Okay, online. You can see my office hours. That's going to be on Thursdays. Okay, now For the textbook material, a couple things. If you go to wiley.com, okay, and I already have that opened. Okay, so let me look here. And you search on the author that you saw there on the Word file. Let me go back to the syllabus principles. I think just not on the author, but if you just search on that Principles of Fraud Examination, you'll see the 4th edition. Okay, and they're going to offer you these options. I recommend the ebook rental, and I don't know why it's clicked on the 120 days. Count the days. I think that would be sufficient for our brain as I consider that. Right, we're here in April, all of April, all of May, all of June, right, is getting closer. It looks like they have it set up more for a semester system than a quarter system. So you might be able to get away with that 120 days for $36. I recommend you do that unless you feel like you really, will need the book beyond that. Then you can go with the purchasing of the ebook or, a little longer period for the rental. If you need to get the book through the bookstore, please be patient with me. Apparently, there's going to be a little bit of back and forth that I'm going to have to do with the bookstore to get that available to you. So hold tight. We should be good in the beginning of the course that you're not going to need the book. You're going to see that I'm not going to give you credit for homework. So the book is really almost there more as a supplement to some of the things that we'll be preparing for as we get ready for our exams week to week, et cetera. So if you wanted to get the book through the bookstore, I'll be getting that for you here in the next next few weeks, I should say. So please be patient with that. Okay. Course description. Okay. Fraud detection and deterrence. So not only are we going to be talking about how, as an auditor, we're going to be putting you in the shoes of an auditor in this class, how can you detect various fraud schemes and report on those, et cetera. But also, what are some of the internal controls that would prevent fraud from ever happening to begin with? Okay, so you can see the various schemes, and you'll see as we go through the week-to-week discussion of the top of the syllabus, you'll see the various topics that we're covering there. Okay. In this class, as I mentioned, I don't give credit for homework. We have 3 exams and we have the guest speaker. I'm of the opinion that the practice questions, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post the slides for each chapter, and I'm going to post a lecture for each chapter, and we will go through a practice exam for each chapter. And so those practice exams will be really your homework that I'll go through with you. And I want you to build up your knowledge of this material and prepare for your exams by going through those practice exams. Okay. Now, if you look at the textbook, there are, with the textbook, additional homework that if you want to look at those on your own, you can. I don't assign those. I'm going to be demonstrating the material to you through practice exam questions. And then when we get our exams, and the exams will be 20 multiple choice questions, it'll be worth 4 points each, and 1 objective format type question that'll be worth 20 points. And so we're going to practice with that sort of material, and then you'll see that the actual exam, each one is worth 100 points. The final is like a glorified midterm because it's also worth 100 points. No more points for us. Glorified is essentially our 3rd midterm, but we call it the final. You will see that the questions on your exams are going to be very, 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 very similar to what we will be practicing with as we go through our practice exams week to week. Again, there's not a set meeting time here in the class. I'll record those lectures and I'll put them up. And the lectures, just going back to Canvas, so we have sort of will be under the modules. You'll see when you come in on the home page, you'll have the modules, chapter 1, chapter 2, and you'll see that in there you'll have the slides for the chapter, you'll have the lecture, and you'll have those practice midterms, and I'll be going through those with you. So there'll be the slides, the practice midterm, and me lecturing on those materials week to week of recording. I'm going to be getting those up by the Wednesday of the week. Okay, so it's sort of as though the class is meeting on a Wednesday, even though we don't have an official meeting time. I will be putting those up on Wednesday, and you'll be able to see those and work through those questions and look at those on your own. And then we'll build up to our exams. Okay, so I treat these practice as a means to an end, not an end in itself. So I don't necessarily get points for those. Okay, I do not get points for those. Guest speaker write-up, we'll be putting that up about the middle of the quarter, the requirements for that. It's going to be a 3-page paper. We'll have a guest speaker, and then that guest speaker you'll be required to watch the recording of the guest speaker. I'll record that, I'll post it, and then you are to go ahead and answer certain rubric questions that I'll be providing about that. That's 3 pages. Double spaced is fine, and I'll give you some requirements on the font, but you'll see that it's not a tremendously long writing project. I'm not terribly harsh as to how I grade that, but I do expect you to turn that in on time. And I'll be giving you the information about the due dates and stuff in a couple seconds here. Okay. Probably, the thing you're mostly interested in is how am I going to be graded here? As you can see, it's from your exams and the guest speaker, and you can see the percentages. Most of my students, to be honest with you, really live up in here. Okay, we get some folks that are perfect, okay, and they get an A+, but most of us are human. Might miss a few points here and there on the exam and live up here in the A's, the high B's. Okay, some students do fall down in here, and that is generally the result of not turning things in, not taking the exams when they're scheduled, not turning in the guest speaker. Then you start to fall down in here. So most of my students are up here, and then for some reason I always have a certain amount of students who fall through the trap door, don't properly withdraw when they should and whatnot, and somehow end up down here. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, if you don't take the exam when it's due, you'll get a 0, and you're going to see that I'm pretty generous in terms of how I set the exams up, but I'm not very generous when it comes to you missing an exam. Then I become sort of, harsh and strict about, hey, I'm not going to give you points if you don't take the exam. Okay. If you cheat, I'm not going to be the nicest guy in the world. So don't do that. Okay. All right, good. So you can see the chapters week by week. And interestingly, it looks like, well, gee, John, you're going through the book backwards. Okay, although we started chapter 1 in introduction, you'll be seeing that lecture here pretty shortly. But I like to go this way because I think it's important, and for some reason this text pushed the discussion of standards to the back of the book, whereas I'm thinking, well, let's understand what the standards are around all this. Okay, let's understand how we can assess fraud risk. Let's understand some skills that we'll be talking about and that we will be using as we go through. And you can see after our first midterm, we start talking about specific fraud schemes. So I thought it was better to start at a general level, a high level, and then we'll get into some more of the details of various fraud schemes as we move past that first midterm. Okay, and then after that first midterm, about the middle of May, I will be posting the guest speaker write-up, so you can now start to turn your attention to that, and we'll go through and start to get more into the detail of the type of fraud schemes, ways to detect that, ways to prevent that or deter those fraud schemes. Okay, now notice, guys, our midterms come up pretty quickly on us. We'll go away another couple of weeks, from our midterms, and we will, review some more material on another midterm, and then you can see we have our final, which is non-comprehensive. It is not comprehensive, it's final. It'll simply cover the chapters from the second midterm to the end of the class. The way the midterms will work, they'll be right here in Canvas, okay, and there'll be a quiz link there on the side. Let's see if that's not there now. It's probably not, but you'll see it'll be over here. Okay, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Okay, over here. Okay, it'll be over here. It'll say quiz. You'll click on that. You'll take the quiz here in Canvas. Now, going back to the syllabus, the quiz will open, okay, at 11. That first quiz will open at 12 a.m. 12 a.m. on May 15th. Okay, 12 a.m. That's midnight, May 15th. And it'll remain open. It will remain open until Sunday, May 21st at 11:59. It'll close, and it'll close hard on you. If you're in the middle of the exam because you started it too late, at 11:59 on May 21st, it'll close on you. You're going to get, so make sure you plan accordingly. My advice is that if the exam opens at 12 a.m. on May 15th, then maybe you take the exam on Thursday, the 18th. Give yourself a little bit of extra time to study up as you're coming up to the exam. Take the exam, and then you can have a nice weekend, and you're not crunching yourself into that last Sunday before it closes. Pick any 3-hour window, to work 20 multiple choice questions, 1 objective format question. I do not believe, I'm not at this point trying to stress you out with a exam where you're rushing to finish the thing. You should have plenty of time. 3 hours is plenty of time to take that exam. So you pick any time, any date within that 1 week window, essentially. Pick any 3-hour window, any 3-hour time period, and take that exam, and you should do well. And as I mentioned, most of my students do very well on the exams because we would have been going through practice exams as we went through the week-to-week recorded lectures, and I'll post those up, and you can see the file, and you can see the practice exams. You can see me walking me through why the right answer was right, why the wrong answer is wrong. By the way, the multiple choice questions, there's only 4 or 5 choices that I'll be giving you on those, on the multiple choice. And then for the objective questions, probably going to be kind of a matching thing where I'll be, having you respond to maybe 4 or 5 different elements. They'll be worth 4 or 5 points each for a total of 20. That's 20 times 4 is the 80. That's the multiple choice questions, and then 20 points. And again, 4 or 5 points per element in there brings you to the full 100 points for your midterms and then your final. Okay. And then that'll continue, and we'll be doing that each time taking our exams right here in Canvas. I'm not proctoring the exams. I'm holding you to your honesty, okay, to your, to your honor code, right? That, you're going to be doing your own work and stuff. And so you just need to set up that time accordingly so that you can take that exam when it's due. Okay. Don't cheat. Please don't cheat. Okay. I do catch students sometimes, and it's not a pleasant experience. So please just do your own work. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to do well in this class without cheating. Again, if you need to get the textbook through the bookstore, please be patient on that. I am working with the bookstore to get that information to you. If you don't need to get it through the bookstore, I recommend you just go ahead and rent this book. If you feel that you need the textbook material to help supplement the discussion that we're going to be having, I will be posting the slides, however, the practice exams and the lectures as well. And you can also use that material to help you. But if you want additional reading here it is. Here's the textbook. And again, you would go or acquire that, again, either through the bookstore, but be patient with me on that, or you can just go here, search here on the title of the book, and it will walk you through, and it'll eventually show you that thing that I pasted into the syllabus here, where you can go ahead and get the book that way. Okay, that is the introduction video here. I'll be posting a video that will be talking about the chapter 1 material here in the next day or so stay tuned for that. I recommend that you log into the course at least once a week, maybe on the Wednesday of the week. Just sort of treat it as though you had a meeting time, even though we don't have a meeting time around Wednesday, to start to look at that material to get you through, okay, so that you'll be in good shape when you finally are coming up to the exam. this isn't a class, guys, where you just bust through all kinds of material and take exams and you're done with the class in 2 weeks or something. It's not going to work that way. No, it's going to be week to week as you build your knowledge of this material. Okay. All right. Looking forward to working with you. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Okay. Thanks.